Hey everyone, thank you for joining Entrepreneur Live. We had to do some transitioning today. Tonight we're going to go over a live deal, a 4-unit. And I have Michael Jones in the house. He's one of my real estate guru partners. And so I'm excited that he's here tonight. Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Who? Mike Jones.
Yeah, Michael Jones, real estate investor here in Columbus, Ohio. I do mostly single family homes and small multi-units. Yeah, that's what we do.
Well, thank you, Mike. Tonight we're going to do a live presentation of a 4-unit that Mike sent all of us, and we're going to do a little analyzing and see if it's a deal for us or no deal for us. And so one thing that I love about Mike, he's a pro on the numbers, and that's the whole trick of real estate investing. Is if you can do those numbers, you can quickly determine if it's a deal or not for you. And so Mike, I'm gonna go ahead and release the floor to you. We're looking at 2851 Cleveland Avenue.
Yeah.
Tell us about that property.
It's a 4-unit, but I wanted to take you through my little presentation so I can show you exactly my thought process and the reason why I think the way I do and look at the stuff the way I look at it. So if I can figure out how I can actually get the share my screen. Oh, there it is, share screen. And I can see the PowerPoint right there. Share. Are you
I can see it.
Let me see here.
Yep, I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Slideshow, play from start. There we go. There we go. So you can see my screen?
Yep.
Not my picture, but my name and phone number and everything.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, that's me. That's my name and phone number. Write that number down, that email down, if you would like to contact me for anything. That's my information. So I'm gonna give you a second for that, and we're gonna start here. This next button. All right, looks like you guys are done writing. So let's start. Uh-oh. I can't see the with the people on the screen. Let me see here. I'm gonna just do that. Okay. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket.
Correct.
So let's explore your money mindset. Instead of I can't afford it, think of how can I afford it? Because people who avoid failure, they also avoid success. So wealth is a person's ability to survive X number of days without a paycheck. I got a little quote on my vision board that says, rich is having a lot of money. Wealth is having a lot of time.
Man.
Good.
So I got this. If you can see this, you can see that this is a cash flow of a poor person. I got this directly out of the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. Let me see here. Are you guys able to say that? See that?
Yes.
Renee, can you tell me what is the passcode?
They can't see that. Now that you're sharing your screen. To the Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay. It should be in the, like if you just copy what I sent you in your phone, you should be able to send it, copy and paste and send it. And then all they have to do is click on there and it'll bring them right in.
So that's it. Okay, I will try that.
Okay, look, I'll try to send it to you again.
No, I have it.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. Oh,
Yep.
you're welcome.
I'm trying to, can you see everybody's name on the screen?
No,
We're looking at the middle class person.
Yeah,
I'm trying to, I
purple
see
arrow.
like your name and Gary's name and everybody's name on the screen. In the middle of my screen, I'm trying to get rid of it. Yeah. Oh, okay. I just moved it to the side. Never mind. Okay. If you look at the little middle class person, did you see the poor persons?
Yes.
Okay. So the poor person, they get a job, the salary comes in, they pay their expenses, taxes, rent, food, transportation, food and clothes. That's their cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
The next person is the middle class. They have a job, the income comes in, they pay the same taxes, rent, food, transportation, but they have a mortgage, they have car loans, they have credit cards. So on their balance sheet, they're paying for that and the money goes out right there. The cash flow to rich, they buy assets like real estate, stocks and bonds, notes, intellectual property. That's where their money comes from, and it comes in as income, as cash flow from real estate, dividends from stocks, interest, royalties, and that's how they pay for their stuff. So the reason why I even talk to people about buying 4 units is because if I do a comparison, which I'm getting ready to show you right now, so all I did was I went on the MLS and looked for a single family home that's available. This is available right now. The address of this property, if you look it up right now, is 74 Whitethorn Avenue, Columbus, Ohio, 43223. So this is a real life deal. This is a 3-bedroom, 1 full bath, 1 half bath. That's on the market currently, rehabbed and everything. So let's go over the numbers. So currently it's priced at 164. Can you see my math?
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
So, okay, so I have this debate with people about the numbers. The numbers are important, but really I want to take an overarching view of the numbers, because you can go into saying, some people say, well, you want to put a 5% vacancy in there or a 10% vacancy in there to see the math. And I feel like that's too much information and too much minutia for the average person to go and make a deal. Because if they're doing the numbers that detailed, they're not going to ever pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want people to pull the trigger on actually buying the deals. So it's listed at 164. I promote trying to get into these deals with low money. So at 3.5% FHA, if you're not a veteran, that's the lowest way to go. If you're a veteran, you can get in with no money down. So, but even if you're not a veteran, that's why I use 3.5%. And you can really get rates lower than that now if you're going to be owner occupied, because FHA is owner occupied properties. So if you were to buy this deal at the price it is right now, you would minus the 54. It'd take you $5,740 plus closing costs, a little bit more, in order to get in this deal.
What is the 5740?
That's the down payment.
Oh,
so that's 3.5% of $164,000.
okay.
So if you do 164 times 3.5, the answer is 5,740. So that's the down payment you would need to make plus closing costs. What you can have them pay closing costs, but you're gonna have to, figure out who's gonna pay those closing costs because you're gonna have to come up with more money or try to round it, go a little bit higher or have them, up the loan amount so you can roll that into the loan.
Okay.
So we're talking about basically about $6,000 in order to buy this single family home. So 158,260 is what you're left with at 3.5 over 30 years. Your principal and interest is going to be 710.66 principal and interest. Taxes on this thing, and you can look it up because this is a live deal. You can go look at how much the taxes are right now. The taxes divided by 12 is 1193. The insurance, I guessed on that. It's normally about, so after doing these deals, I know like it's going to be about maybe $80 maybe or less. So I do half of what the taxes is. I guessed on that. In order to get the real number, you have to call up an insurance guy, but I just want enough information so I can make an intelligent decision moving forward because but like today is Friday. If you're going to call up somebody, get an estimate, do all that, if it's a good deal, this is going to be gone. So you need to be able to run the numbers, basically immediately. The mortgage insurance, since you only put 3.5% down, if you don't put 20% down, you're going to have to pay mortgage insurance. And mortgage insurance is another fee. And I guesstimated on that too. I normally say that's twice of what the insurance is. That'll get me the ballpark. So I'm like, okay, you add all these numbers up and it may not come out to 1,000 even, but I just round up to be close. So I don't, mess with the cents. And if you go to rental meter, you can go to rental meter and see what these places rent for. Or I go to Zillow. So if you go to Zillow or rental meter, you'll find out that they're saying that they rent for $1,100 to $1,200, this single family home. So you're going to live in this property. If you decide to buy a single family home, you're going to live in that property for a year. And then when you rent it out, you should get $100 to $200 in cash flow. So in the second year, your return on investment, and a return on investment is how much money did you actually put up? You put up almost $6,000. And how much money did you actually bring in? So the formula is you multiply what the cash flow is times 12. So if the cash flow is $100, you multiply that by 12 and you come up with $1,200. Then you divide that by how much money you put down. So if you put down 5,740, then you got a 20% ROI, which means in 5 years, because if you do 5 by 20, you get all your money back. So it's going to take you 5 years to get all your money back when you start renting it. And that's not including repairs and other stuff. I just want to get a good grasp of what am I looking at here as far as numbers wise. So that's a single family home that's on the market right now. This is a duplex that's on the market right now. And if you got any questions, feel free to stop me and ask me questions or whatever. The address of this duplex is 1274 Pegwood Court. 1274.
Mike, we do have a question.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, this is Gary. If someone does have the 20% or they have the option, do you recommend, does it usually work out better financially to do the 20% and avoid the PMI, or, do the 3.5% and pay that from your experience?
No, never put down 20% if you ain't got to. Put down 0% if you can, if you're a veteran. If not, go FHA with 3.5%. The money that you got in the bank, if you got 20%, that should be show money. So that the banks will look at you and say, hey, you got this money in case something goes wrong, you got money in the bank. And the difference between how much the payment is going to be versus you putting the money up doesn't make sense. Like if you do the math of putting the 20% up, you're like, dude, you should have did something else with that money. Because I tried it several times, it don't work.
Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
so the game is, and if you got 20% to put down, I would, when you get this one at 3%, you got to live in it for a year, and then after that year, move on to the next one. I would keep on doing that. This deal is at 1274 Pegwood Court. It's in Columbus, Ohio. Also, it's on the market right now for $200,000. So if you look on the MLS, you'll be able to find it, or Realtor.com, you'll be able to see this duplex for $200,000. Now let's go over the numbers. So, I like FHA because it's 3.5% down, and that's the cheapest you can go if you're not a veteran. And the interest rates are really low right now. So $200,000 point times 3.5% is $7,000. And you got to pay closing costs, so you got to figure that part out. But you got to at least come to the table with $7,000, maybe a little bit more. That'll leave you with a balance of 193, and at 3.5% over 30 years, your principal and interest would be 866.66. The taxes, I just took the taxes and divided by 12, and it's 213.50. So the taxes were 25.62. I divided that by 12, came up with 213.50. I guessed on the insurance, just to get me in the ballpark. I said the insurance was, I divided the taxes by 3 to guess on the insurance.
So Mike, everybody on here, I think, owns a home already. So I know that you can do the 3, like, you said, live in it and then do it again. So say if we already have our single family, can we do the 3.5 in a multi-unit next?
So you can, but you can only have one FHA loan out at a time. So what I would do is, if you're there and you're there for a year, refinance while you're there into a conventional, and then you can use your FHA again.
Okay, so say that one more time.
So you can only have one FHA loan out at a time.
Okay.
If you refinance the current loan that you have that's FHA into a conventional, that frees up your FHA loan again.
Okay, gotcha. Conventional. So if I do, okay, so the house that I'm in right now, how many times can you do that? Because, I bought a condo first, now I'm in a single family. I couldn't do that with this and move into a 4-unit?
You can. Now, the bank is going to have a hard time if you already have 2 other properties and then you're saying you're going to move into a 4-unit, because it's got to make sense to them. Like, is this a nicer place than the home that you're living in now? Because if you're telling me you're going to move into a 1-bedroom, 600 square foot unit that's a 4-unit, they're going to be like, wait a minute, you live in a home that's, 2,000 square feet. Nah, we're not going to give you the loan because we don't believe you.
It's possible. I'm downsizing.
Well, yeah, but now see, if you had a 4-unit that was 2,000 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and you're saying, hey, I want to move in there because I don't want to pay my mortgage payment, then that's believable. It's got to make sense to the lender that you're going to use that FHA loan to actually be an owner-occupied property.
Gotcha. But I didn't even know about that. Just refinance to a conventional, and then that frees up that the FHA loan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're gonna have to pay closing
That's a great
costs.
strategy.
You're gonna have to pay closing costs on that refinance. So in my mind, I'm trying to pull out money too if I can. If I'm gonna refinance and I gotta pay closing costs, maybe $3,500, $4,000, then I want to pull out some money too if I can.
Okay.
And then move on to my next unit. Where was I at? Oh, I guessed on the insurance. I did the taxes divided by 3. That gives me an area that is comfortable for me. Now I'm like, okay, yeah, that's close enough for me to make a decision. And then you got your PMI again, your private mortgage insurance, because you only put up 3.5%. So all of that adds up to about 13. So if you go on Rent-A-Meter or Zillow, you'll find out that this rents for about $800 to $850 a unit. So I did my math. I did it on $830. So if you live in one side and you got a tenant paying $830, then the $830 minus the 13, you got $470 is your payment. And in my mind, when I run through these numbers, I also say, if that one side doesn't pay, where am I at? How do I stand? And if that one side doesn't pay, I just got to pay the entire mortgage because I'm living there. So I got to pay the $1,300. So that's, in my mind, that's the worst case scenario, that, you know, I got a tenant that's next door to me that's not paying in this duplex. And I got to pay the whole mortgage, which is $1,300.
Oh, one more question here, Mike. We know that the Rent-A-Meter or Zillow will give you an idea on the rent and how it compares, right? But what's a good tool then for knowing that listed price of the home? Is it, you know, a fair market price for the home or duplex itself?
So let me give you a story. Every time I talk to investors, they ask me, they say, well, how do I know I'm paying a good price for this property? You know, how I know I'm not getting taken, or, you know, I'm not paying too much.
Right.
And so when I first, I guess I've been in the game for a second, but maybe the first couple years, I was trying to get out the rat race. So I played cash flow and I was trying to get out the rat race. And I noticed every time I played that I would sell a single family home and I would go to like a fourplex or a multi-unit on a big deal to try to get out. So I was living in DC at the time. That's why I got a 703 phone number. I had a 4-unit that was available that was totally rehabbed. And every unit was rented at $1,250. So I ended up paying $280 for that 4-unit. Now I'm getting $1,250 a unit. So, and I was doing a 1031. I sold a condo. I had 80 grand to put down. So I put the 80 grand down. My mortgage was like 2 something, but principal, interest, taxes, insurance, plus I had to pay the trash in the back because they didn't just pick that up. That wasn't included. And I had to pay for the lights in the hallway. All of that came to like 19 and some change. So I was under 2 grand of expenses going out as far as the mortgage, the trash, and the lights. When I brought this to my friends and I was telling them about it, they said, oh, Mike, don't buy this property because it's in the hood. They're shooting people right down the street. It's really bad over there. I said, I understand that. They said, Mike, don't buy it because nobody else has paid over $230 for that property. Or any properties, any 4 units over there, $230 was the highest anybody's ever paid. And you're paying $280. I said, I understand that. So it doesn't matter what you do. If you tell other people about it, they're going to criticize you. If you don't make a move, you're going to get criticized. If you do make a move, you're going to be criticized. So to me, I took comfort in the fact that I knew my numbers. The numbers are, I'm getting $1,250 a unit. That's $2,500 for 2. 25, that's $5 grand for the whole thing. I'm getting $5 grand coming in. I got $2 grand going out. They can say whatever they want. I'm buying this property because it's rented out. It's totally rehabbed. I know, and all 4 units are on Section 8. I'm going to get $5 grand every month coming in off this property. $2 grand is going out. So when people tell me, you know, are you paying too much? Are you doing? I don't care about that. I don't care about the price at all, because if I can get that thing to cash flow, I can hold on to that property for years. And what they're really talking about is ARV, the amount that property is worth today. Well, we all know that property prices go up over time. So in 10 years, that property is not going to be 280 anymore. The property is going to go up in value. So the real question is can you hold on for that amount of time in order to sell? If I got that cash flow, I know I can hold on. So I don't really care what I pay for the price as long as I'm getting the cash flow. So that's my answer to when people ask me, you know, are they paying too much for the property or are they not? I don't care what I pay for the property as long as the cash flows. I would have paid a lot more. And the end of that story is 5 years later, I ended up selling that 4 unit for $535,000. $535,000. I bought it for $280,000. And they clowned me when I bought it. They told me I was stupid because I paid too much. It was a drug infested area. And I wish I'd have got 4 or 5 more of them. So I don't really care about, I don't care. Now, you might talk to somebody else because I have these arguments with other investors all the time about, you know, the price that they pay for properties. But eventually, real estate is real forgiving. And at some point, as long as the cash flows, it's going to go up in value. If you can hold on. If you can hold on long enough. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. That we got to look at, you know, take the cash flow into consideration and use that to play into the decision. Yeah, I got you.
Okay. Here we go. It's getting juicy now. This is the 4 unit that I was telling people about. Teal came out and looked at it. It wasn't. It ain't really sexy as far. I mean, I like the brick on the outside.
Yeah, the outside looks great.
Yeah, and the inside needed, you know, it needed some work or whatever. But
mostly cosmetic. There wasn't any real structural issues at all.
So, but the reason I get excited about these 4 units is because of the numbers. The numbers tell me that I need to get excited about this. Here are the numbers. He was asking 270. 270 in my mind, he's probably asking too much. I mean, it's probably overpriced a little bit, but he's going to get it because of the market. But if you were to buy that property and live in one of the units, you would have to come up FHA with 3.5% down plus closing costs. So at least $9,450. And people say, well, Mike, where am I going to come up with that money from? Because, you know, a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. And I say, well, you have a car note? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, get rid of the car note. And they look at me funny because they're saying, hey, I got this nice car. I don't want to get rid of the car note. I'm like, do you want financial freedom and you want to change and be like part of the 1%? Or do you want to be like everybody else? Living paycheck to paycheck.
I love it, Mike. I love it.
I mean, don't get mad at me. I'm trying to help.
Right, for real. You got to throw that real knowledge at people sometimes. You trying to hang on to this car note when you're talking this talk about trying to change your life and change your future? Come on.
Exactly. So I'm like, hey, if you want real change, we can talk. But I'm not here to try to make you feel good. You know, I'm not into that. So I'm trying to make some real life decisions and help other people do the same thing. So if you got a car note, like they say the average car note is like $470 or something stupid. I'm like, so basically, let's call it $500. $500 times 2 is $1,000. Times 6, that'll be the whole year. That's $6,000. So $6,000 times 2 years, that's 18. We're only talking about coming up with $10,000 for the down payment on a 4 unit. So if you get rid of that car note, save your money up, you'll have the money. They're like, oh, I don't have the money. I can't do that. Blah, blah, blah. How bad do you want it? Anyway, let me get back to the business. 270. If you put 3.5% down plus a little closing costs, your mortgage is going to be $260,550. 3.5% over 30 years is going to give you the monthly PI of $1,170. The taxes is $277. I guessed again on the insurance, and you got to also pay PMI on this because you only put up 3.5%. So total, you're going to be looking at. Let me see here.
$1,550.
$1,550. So 1550 is the number. And if you're getting rents of 600 to 750, now he already told me that he's getting 700 per unit. So on 3 of them, we looked at them. I think 2 of them was actually rented and 2 of them were vacant. But if I take those numbers that he's saying at 700, I'm at 14 for 2, 21 for 3. Well, my mortgage is 1550. So if I say 2100 for 3 and I'm living in one, then that's free. I'm living in one for free, and I got, cash flow of 734 if all 3 of those units are paying. And I say, okay, when I'm doing these analysis, if one person doesn't pay me, now I got 1400 coming in. My mortgage is 1550, so I got a negative 150. So I got to pay out of my pocket $150 if one person doesn't pay me. Who is paying rent or mortgage at 150?
Right.
That's cheap, even if
Right.
somebody's not paying you. Because if they are paying you, you're making money by living there. That's
Right.
why I get excited about the 4 units. Because even if I overpay for this at 270 and I stuck my money into it, eventually I'm gonna get to a place where in year 2, I'm gonna have 4 units. When I move out, I'm gonna have 4 units paying me $700 a month. 700 times 4 is $2,800. $2,800 minus the 1,550 I'm saying the mortgage is, that's $1,250 a month coming in after everything's said and done. And I overpaid for the property. I overpaid for it. I'm probably gonna have to use some more money to fix it up or whatever. But eventually I'm gonna get to these numbers. And what happens if somebody doesn't pay me? So I'm at 2,100 with just 3 of them paying me. The mortgage is 1,550. I'm still at a 550 cash flow. It with one person not paying me. And believe me, I've been in this game long enough to know even good people sometimes can't pay for some reason or another. If they lost their job, if somebody died, if they had 2 incomes in the house and now they only got 1. So
Mhm.
this scenario, if somebody's not going to pay you, is going to happen. And you have to factor that in. I factor that in
I do
to
too.
deals when I buy them.
Yes.
I know that's going to happen for some reason or another. So I feel a lot more comfortable when I got 4 units and somebody doesn't pay me versus if I got a single family home and they can't pay me. Because now I'm down $1,000 a month on that single family home. If that one person doesn't pay me out this 4 unit, I'm still up $550.
Mhm.
That's why I stress getting these 4 units, or at least when you start out. Because if you start out, most people are scared to get a 4 unit because they don't know what they're doing, but really it's going to hurt them more. And it takes the same amount of effort and energy to get the loan on the 4 unit as it would the single family home.
Mhm.
Any questions? I'm basically done. I'm just going to tell y'all what I do for real.
Mike, give me that address again.
What address?
For Jazz's 4 unit.
It's 2851 through 2587 Cleveland Avenue, but it's under contract now. He went under contract again.
I wanted to pop it into my rental meter and see what came up.
Okay. When I checked on rent meter, it said 571.
Right. To 600.
So Zillow says 755. Rental meter said 571. But he's saying he's getting rents at 700.
Mhm.
And I know I got an 8 unit right around the corner. I'm getting what am I getting? I'm getting 700 on a 2-bedroom. And it's about the same square footage, but he has central air and I don't. So
Mhm.
I know in my mind he's getting high rents over there for 1-bedrooms.
Mhm.
But if he can show me the leases that he's getting at, I'll go with it. I mean, I'll believe it. Even so, I did the math at 571 also. So I did 570 times 4, which is 2280. With my mortgage at 1550, I'm still getting 730 cash flow, even if the rents are 570. But I know I can get more than 570.
So
I think you can get more than 570 too.
Yeah,
Also.
because
Mhm.
it's nothing available for that price.
Right.
So, Mike, to follow up on what you said, what information do you ask from the owner to see? Just a copy of the lease or what? The bills?
Yeah, I want to see a copy of the lease. I mean, bills. I mean, before you actually close, that's part of your due diligence. I don't ask for that up front. I mean, the way the market is now, I try to get something under contract immediately. Like if once I do my rough numbers like this, if it makes sense, I try to get it under contract. And then once it's under contract, I then verify all the information, get all the leases, verify, what's going on. But I already know that with these 4 units, since I've been buying them already, the main thing is I have to pay water if it's not broken up by Guardian or one of these other companies. So I know how much that is. It's like, about 450, 500 a month for a 4 unit for the water. So I already know that because I've been doing this for a while. And the tenants are going to be responsible for the gas and electric. So I'm not worried about those bills. Yeah, so I really just want to see the lease, and I want to scan the lease and read them and to make sure that, it's not the same dates and the same information, because sometimes people will give you leases that aren't even real. They'll, especially like in the bigger apartment buildings, they'll just fill out fake names and you can see that the signatures are the same and it's not. Normally on the small ones, they don't do that, but on the bigger ones, they definitely do. So on the bigger ones, you can, I mean, this is probably not for this discussion, but if you're buying 4 units and below is residential financing. You can get residential 30-year fixed mortgages on those. On the ones that are bigger than that, you can send the tenants a letter asking them to verify what their rent is, what they're paying, blase, blase, before, as part of your due diligence on the bigger units that they can lie on, which they do. They lie on those.
Wow.
So, it's in contract now for 270, or did he accept a lower price?
I don't know what price he accepted.
Okay.
But I'm sure he got 270 because it's just
You
nothing
still
on the
think he got
market.
270?
Yeah, and we're not just fighting with Columbus, Ohio buyers. I sold the 4 unit to somebody in California, so we got out of state money on the coast that's coming in
Wow.
Columbus that's buying up properties here.
Mhm.
So we're competing with people that's got a lot. Their pockets are deep. I'm sure he got 270. I mean, I didn't ask him. I don't know 100%, but if I had to put money on it, he got 270 because he had multiple offers again.
Okay.
That was good. Any other questions?
No, I learned something though, Mike, just on you running your numbers and how you do it. I found that educational.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I'm glad. So I'm Michael Jones. I buy and hold single family homes and small multi-units. Life insurance. Everyone needs life insurance outside of what your job provides. You can talk to me about that offline, but we don't have enough life insurance, and we didn't in my family. And I suggest we all get life insurance because, I mean, we got insurance on our phones, insurance on our cars, and we don't have the right amount of life insurance. Most of
I'm
us
coming,
don't.
Joa.
So what else? Oh, finally, we sell sweet treats, salted caramel cupcakes, cheesecakes,
That's
cinnamon rolls,
right.
and more.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a plug. So give
I
me a
love it.
call if you're interested in any of that. And let me see, is there anything else on here? Oh, a book list. So I try to get people to read Rich Dad Poor Dad because I took most of that first part of the presentation out of his book about what a real asset is and what a real liability is. And these are really the 3 guys that have, I basically based all of my stuff off of. A lot of what I do is based off of me reading these guys' books. Robert Kiyosaki, Dave Ramsey, and Grant Cardone. Yeah, I'm really on these guys. So What else?
Yep, everybody here is part of the book club still. We're reading The Secret of the Millionaire Mind, and tomorrow we play the cash flow game.
Yeah.
So
let
And
me
I've read
show-
all three of those, Mike, and I
Oh, okay.
love that 10X by Grant